In the ancient kingdom of Azura, where the forests whispered secrets and the rivers carried forgotten songs, there lived a wealthy trader named Olumide. He was a man of great ambition but greater arrogance, for he believed that wealth could purchase anything, even the favor of the spirits. 25 years before our story truly begins, Olumide found himself lost in the forbidden forest of Iroko. He had wandered for 3 days and 3 nights, his water gourds empty, his food depleted, and his strength fading like smoke in the wind. On the 4th night, as death's cold fingers reached for him, a figure emerged from the shadows. It was neither man nor beast, but something in between, a spirit guardian of the forest, tall as 3 men, with eyes that glowed like fireflies and skin that shimmered like water under moonlight. "Mortal," the spirit's voice echoed through the trees, "you trespass in my domain." Olumide fell to his knees. "Great Spirit, I meant no disrespect. I am lost. Please, show me the way home, and I shall give you anything you desire." The spirit tilted its head, considering. "Anything. Anything," Olumide declared desperately. A smile crossed the spirit's face, beautiful and terrible. "Then I shall guide you home, Olumide of Azura. And in return, you shall give me your first daughter." Olumide's heart raced. He had no children, and his wife had been declared barren by 3 different healers. What harm could such a promise bring? "I accept," he said quickly. "Not just any daughter," the spirit continued, its voice weaving through the air like a serpent. "The first girl child born to your bloodline. She shall be my bride when she reaches her 25th year. Do you swear this oath?" "I swear it," Olumide replied, thinking himself clever. "Upon my life and my ancestors' names." The spirit raised one long finger, and a mark appeared on Olumide's palm, a symbol that glowed briefly before fading into his skin. "Then it is sealed. Break this oath, and your entire family line shall wither like grass in the dry season." With a gesture, the spirit showed Olumide the path home. By morning, the trader stood at the gates of Azura, the whole ordeal feeling like a distant dream. 3 months later, Olumide's wife Adena collapsed in the market. When the healers examined her, they discovered what seemed impossible: she was with child. 9 months later, she gave birth to a son they named Chikudi. Relief flooded Olumide's heart. His oath was safe. Over the years, Adena bore him 3 more sons. Olumide's wealth grew, and the promise made in the forest became a faded memory, a story he told himself had been nothing but a fever dream. But the spirits never forget. When Olumide's elder son Chikudi married, his wife gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. They named her Amara, which means grace, for she was graceful even as an infant, with eyes that seemed to hold ancient wisdom. The moment Amara drew her first breath, Olumide's palm burned with searing pain. He looked down to see the mark, the symbol from the forest, glowing bright as a brand. Terror seized his heart. He had promised his first daughter, and though Amara was his granddaughter, she was the first girl born to his bloodline. That night, Olumide gathered his family and confessed everything. His son Chikudi raged, his wife wept, and Adena struck him across the face, the first and only time in their marriage. "We will hide her," Chikudi declared. "We will take Amara far from here where no spirit can find her." But Adena, who was wise in the ways of the spiritual world, shook her head. "The spirits have long memories and longer reach. There is nowhere in this world you can hide from an oath sealed in blood." "Then what do we do?" Chikudi demanded. "We raise her strong," Adena said firmly. "We raise her clever and brave. And we pray that when the time comes, she will find her own way." Amara grew up knowing she was different. While other children played freely, she was trained in wisdom, in herbs and healing, in the old languages and older stories. Her grandmother Adena taught her the ways of spirits and the art of negotiation with the unseen world. "Why must I learn all this?" young Amara once asked. Adana stroked her hair gently. Because, my child, there will come a day when you must bargain for your own fate. And on that day, only your wit and courage will save you. They told her about the oath on her 10th birthday. Amara did not cry or scream as they expected. Instead, she sat quietly for a long moment, then looked up at her grandfather Olumide with eyes far too old for her years. You traded me for your life, she said simply. I didn't know, Olumide began. You didn't care, Amara corrected. You made a promise without thinking of the consequences. And now I must pay the price. From that day forward, Amara devoted herself to learning everything she could about spirits, oaths, and the ancient laws that govern the world beyond the world. She studied with priests, priestesses, and herbalists. She learned which offerings pleased which spirits, which words held power, and which silences held more. As Amara's 25th birthday drew near, strange things began happening in Ezra. Animals gathered at the edges of the village, watching. The wind carried voices in languages no one had spoken for generations. At night, lights danced at the forest's edge, beautiful and beckoning. Amara's father Chukudi tried everything. He consulted with powerful priests who performed rituals and sacrifices. He offered the spirits gold, cattle, and rare treasures. But each priest returned with the same message: the oath was sealed too deeply to break, and the spirit who made it was too powerful to refuse. Let me go, Amara told her father one evening. I have prepared for this my entire life. I won't let him take you, Chukudi said fiercely. You're my daughter. And I love you for fighting for me, Amara said gently. But some battles cannot be won with force. Some require a different kind of strength. 3 days before her birthday, Amara had a dream. In it, the spirit from her grandfather's story appeared, though he looked different now, younger, almost human, with kind eyes that contradicted his otherworldly nature. I have waited long for you, Amara, he said in the dream. I am Is, guardian of the Iroko forest, keeper of oaths and promises. Your grandfather's debt comes due. Why? Amara asked. Why did you make such a cruel bargain? Is's expression grew sad. To teach him the weight of careless promises. To show him that words spoken in desperation still have power. But you, Amara, you are not part of his punishment. You are something I did not expect. What do you mean? You will understand when we meet in the waking world. On the morning of her 25th birthday, Amara dressed in white, the color of spirits and new beginnings. She wore her grandmother's silver bracelets and carried a small pouch of sacred herbs. Her entire family gathered to escort her to the edge of the forbidden forest. Her mother wept, her father stood rigid with suppressed rage, and her grandfather Olumide looked like a man already dead from shame. Amara embraced each of them. Do not mourn, she said. I go not as a victim but as myself, fully and completely. Whatever happens, I face it with my eyes open. She turned and walked into the forest alone. The trees seemed to part before her, creating a path where none had existed. Birds fell silent. The air grew thick with ancient magic. After walking for what felt like hours but might have been minutes, Amara entered a clearing. In its center stood a magnificent palace that seemed to be made of living wood and flowing water, of moonlight and shadow woven together. And there, waiting for her, was Is. He was beautiful in the way that storms are beautiful, powerful and untamed. But his eyes, those glowing eyes, held something unexpected, uncertainty. You came, he said. Did you think I wouldn't? I thought perhaps you would run. Or that your family would try to hide you. They wanted to, Amara admitted. But I am not one to hide from my fate. I am here, as promised. But I have questions. A smile flickered across Isa's face. Of course you do. You are not like your grandfather at all. Why did you ask for a bride? Do spirits marry? Is gestured, and 2 chairs materialized, one of woven vines, one of carved stone. They sat facing each other. I am cursed, Amara, Is began. Long ago, I was human, a prince of a forgotten kingdom. I fell in love with a woman promised to another, and in my arrogance, I stole her away on her wedding day. Her betrothed was a powerful sorcerer, and in his rage, he cursed me. I would become a guardian spirit, bound to the forest for eternity, unable to love or be loved unless I could find a bride who came to me willingly, freely, despite knowing what I am. But I didn't come willingly, Amara pointed out. I came because of an oath. Exactly, he said bitterly. For centuries, I've tried different schemes, different promises. But every bride who came out of obligation, fear, or deception. The curse remains because true willingness cannot be compelled. Amara leaned back, thinking. So my grandfather's oath means nothing. I'm not actually bound to marry you. The oath binds you to come here, to face me. But the actual marriage? That requires your genuine consent, or the curse continues and I remain as I am. What happens if I refuse? You go free. The oath is fulfilled by your presence here. You return to your family, live your life. Isa's voice grew quiet. And I remain alone, for another century or more, until I can find another way. And if I accept, then we marry, the curse breaks, and I become human again. We would live as husband and wife, here in this place between worlds, or in the mortal realm if you prefer. Amara studied him carefully. You'd seem like a monster. I was once, Is admitted. Grief and isolation twisted me. But centuries of solitude teach you many things, patience, regret, the true value of connection. I know I have no right to ask anything of you, Amara. Your grandfather's selfishness put you here. But in watching you grow through my forest eyes, yes, I have watched you, I have seen your strength, your wisdom, your kindness. I have seen a woman who faces her fears with grace. You've been watching me? Amara should have felt violated, but instead, she felt curious. Not in an invasive way, he said quickly. The forest sees all who pass through it, and sometimes the trees would whisper to me of the girl who spoke to them kindly, who left offerings for the spirits, who studied the old ways not out of obligation but genuine interest. Amara stood and walked around the clearing, thinking. Everything in her life had led to this moment. Every lesson, every story, every preparation. May I ask you something, she said finally. Anything. If you become human again, what kind of man will you be? Is considered this carefully. I was arrogant before, selfish. I took what I wanted without considering the cost to others. My curse taught me empathy, the weight of consequences. If I become human again, I hope to be the kind of man who honors his promises, who treats others with respect, who understands that love is not possession but partnership. Pretty words, Amara said. But how do I know they're true? You don't, Is admitted. And that's what makes your choice brave if you make it, and wise if you don't. Amara walked to the edge of the clearing and looked back toward the path she'd taken. She could return. Her family waited. She could live her own life, marry whom she chose, or choose not to marry at all. But something made her pause. Is, she said. Would you like to know what I learned in all my years of preparation? What? I learned that spirits and humans are not so different. Both can be cruel or kind. Both can learn and change. Both can be lonely. She turned to face him. I learned that sometimes the greatest prison is the one we build ourselves from fear, fear of vulnerability, fear of trust, fear of the unknown. What are you saying? I'm saying that I didn't come here just to fulfill an oath. I came here to take control of my own story. Amara walked back to stand before him. You asked for a bride who comes willingly. But I want more than that. What do you want? I want a partnership. I want a husband who sees me as an equal, not a prize. I want someone who will listen as much as he speaks, who will honor my choices, who will walk beside me, not ahead or behind. She held out her hand. I want to know the man you claim you've become, not the boy you were. Show me over time, not in grand gestures but in small, daily truths. He stared at her hand but didn't take it. You would give me a chance. I'm giving us both a chance, Amara corrected. But hear me clearly, I agree to a courtship, not a marriage. Not yet. You will become human again, yes, because that requires only my willingness to try. But whether we truly marry, whether we build a life together, that you must earn. And if I fail, if you decide I'm not the man you deserve, then we part as friends, and you remain human, having learned your lesson. The curse specified a willing bride, not a permanent one. Your transformation comes from my genuine willingness to give you a chance. What you do with that chance is up to you. For the first time in centuries, Is felt something he'd almost forgotten, hope mixed with healthy fear. This woman before him was no passive sacrifice. She was rewriting the terms of an ancient curse with nothing but her clarity and courage. I accept your terms, he said, finally taking her hand. The moment their hands touched, light exploded through the clearing. Is gasped as his form shifted, solidified. His otherworldly glow faded, replaced by warm brown skin. His impossible height reduced to that of a tall man. His eyes, though still striking, became human. He fell to his knees, breathing hard. I can feel it. My heartbeat. The air in my lungs. I'm human. Amara knelt beside him. Welcome back to the mortal world. When Amara emerged from the forest 3 days later, she was not alone. Beside her walked a man, handsome, strong, but with eyes that held centuries of memory. Her family rushed forward, weapons raised, but Amara stepped between them. This is Is, she announced. We are courting, under my terms and my conditions. He has become human, the oath is fulfilled, and I am here of my own free will. You can't be serious, her father protested. I am completely serious, Amara said firmly. All my life, I have been told this choice was made for me. But I am making it myself now. Not because I must, but because I choose to explore what might be possible. Her grandmother Adana stepped forward, studying Is carefully. Then she did something unexpected, she smiled. You have your grandfather's stubbornness but your own wisdom, she said to Amara. And you, she turned to Is, you have been given a rare gift, a second chance at humanity. Use it well. I intend to, grandmother, Is said, and the title came naturally, respectfully. Over the following months, Is proved himself in small, consistent ways. He worked alongside the farmers, learning humility in the soil. He helped build homes, finding purpose in service. He studied with the village elders, gaining wisdom in human affairs. But most importantly, he listened to Amara. When she spoke of her dreams, he didn't dismiss them. When she set boundaries, he respected them. When she needed space, he gave it. When she needed support, he offered it. He told her stories of the centuries he'd witnessed, the patterns of stars and seasons, the secrets the forest had taught him. She shared her own dreams, of becoming a healer, of helping her community, of a life that balanced tradition with progress. A year passed. Then another. The village grew accustomed to Isa's presence. Some remained suspicious, but many came to respect him. He never pretended to be anything other than what he was, a man learning to be human again. One evening, as Amara and Ys sat by the river, she said, "I've made my decision." Ys's heart raced. "And I will marry you," Amara said. "Not because an oath demands it, not because a curse requires it, but because in these 2 years, you have shown me who you truly are. You have been patient, honest, and humble. You have become someone I respect, admire, and yes, love." Ys's eyes filled with tears, a very human response he'd learned to cherish. "I love you too, Amara. Not as a cure to a curse, but as the woman who gave me not just life, but a reason to live it well." "But," Amara continued, "we marry as equals. In our home, decisions are made together. My voice matters as much as yours. My dreams are as important as yours. I wouldn't have it any other way. And one more thing," Amara said, a slight smile playing on her lips. "We tell our story truthfully, to our children, to anyone who asks. We don't hide the messy beginning because it makes the journey more remarkable. An oath brought us together, but choice keeps us together." "Agreed," he said, pulling her close. "Complete honesty, always." Their wedding was a grand affair, celebrated by both the village and the spirits of the forest who came to witness one of their own return fully to humanity. Olumide, frail now with age and guilt, wept as he blessed the union, begging his granddaughter's forgiveness. "I forgive you, grandfather," Amara said gently. "Your mistake gave me a challenging path, but I found my own way to walk it. Perhaps that's the greatest gift, not a smooth road, but the strength to navigate a difficult one." Amara and Ys built a life together that became legendary. She became the village's greatest healer, using both the knowledge her grandmother taught her and the ancient wisdom Ys had accumulated. He became a counselor and mediator, his centuries of observation giving him unique insight into human nature and conflict. They had 3 children, 2 daughters and a son, each taught from birth the value of keeping one's word, the importance of thinking before making promises, and the power of choosing one's own path even when circumstances seemed to offer no choice. When travelers came to Azura and heard their story, they would ask, "But wasn't it wrong that she was promised before birth? Wasn't the spirit villain for demanding such a price?" Amara would smile and say, "The wrong was in the careless promise, yes. But the spirit was also trapped by his own past mistakes. We were both handed a bad situation created by others' choices. What mattered was not the hand we were dealt, but how we chose to play it." "So you're saying the oath was good?" they would ask, confused. "No," Ys would clarify. "The oath was selfish and thoughtless. But what came from it, our meeting, our choice to know each other, our partnership, that is ours. We took something that began in desperation and transformed it into something built on respect and love." Years later, when Olumide lay on his deathbed, Amara and Ys came to his side. The old man wept. "I ruined your life," he whispered. "No, grandfather," Amara said, holding his hand. "You gave me an unexpected path. I won't lie and say it was easy or that I didn't resent you at times. But you also gave me a family that prepared me, that fought for me, that loved me enough to let me face my own challenges. And in the end, you taught everyone an important lesson." "What lesson?" Olumide asked. "That words have weight. Promises have power. And we must think beyond ourselves when we speak them into being." She squeezed his hand. "Rest now. You are forgiven, but more importantly, you helped create a story that will teach others to be more careful, more thoughtful, more aware of how their choices ripple through time." Olumide closed his eyes and passed peacefully. The story of Amara and Ys lived on for generations in Azura and beyond. Parents told it to children as both warning and inspiration. "Be careful what you promise," they would say, "for oaths have long memories. But also know that even in the darkest circumstances, you can find your own light, make your own choices, and write your own ending. The forbidden forest of Irako still stands, though it's no longer quite so forbidden. Amara and Ease, in their later years, opened paths through it, teaching people to respect the spirits without fearing them, to understand the old ways without being enslaved by them. And sometimes, on quiet evenings, you can still see an elderly couple walking hand in hand through those trees, their love story a testament to the truth that the greatest magic isn't in the bonds that compel us, but in the choices we make when we're finally free. Here comes the moral of the story. The weight of promises. Never make promises lightly, especially in desperation. Every oath you speak carries consequences that may extend far beyond yourself, affecting innocent people for generations. Think deeply before you pledge anything, for the universe holds us to our word. The power of choice. Even when circumstances seem to trap us, we retain the power to choose how we respond. Amara couldn't choose the oath made before her birth, but she chose how to face it, with preparation, wisdom, courage, and ultimately, on her own terms. Transformation through accountability. Both Ease and Olimide made terrible mistakes. But while Olimide spent years in guilt and regret, Ease spent centuries learning and growing. True redemption comes not from avoiding consequences but from facing them and becoming better because of them. Partnership over possession. Love built on respect, equality, and mutual choice is far stronger than any bond created by obligation or force. Amara and Ease's relationship succeeded because she demanded partnership, and he was willing to grow into being a true partner. The difference between fate and choice. Fate may set us on a path, but choice determines how we walk it. We are not powerless victims of circumstance, we are active participants in our own stories, capable of transforming even the worst situations into opportunities for growth and connection. Words create reality. In many African traditions, spoken words have power to shape reality. This story reminds us that what we say, promise, and swear becomes real in ways we might not expect. Speak with intention, promise with care, and understand that language is a form of creation.